April 1945. Berlin is burning. Above ground, the thousand-year Reich has been reduced to rubble. The Soviet Red Army is blocks away, crushing the last desperate resistance. But 30 feet below the garden of the Reich Chancellery, in a damp concrete box, a surreal drama is playing out. It smells of stale sweat, diesel fumes, and fear. In this bunker, the most powerful tyrant in history is disintegrating. There are betrayals, a bizarre wedding ceremony, the murder of 6 innocent children, and a final, desperate suicide pact. How did the man who conquered Europe end up trapped in a concrete tomb, raging at phantom armies? This is the hour-by-hour story of Hitler's final days, and the details are darker than you think. It starts on April 20th, Hitler's 56th birthday. In any other year, this would be a national holiday. Today, it's a funeral wake. Top Nazi officials, Göring, Himmler, come to shake his hand. They urge him, leave Berlin, go south. But they aren't concerned for him. They are terrified for themselves. They want to get out before the Soviet ring closes. Hitler refuses. He is a shell of a man. His left hand trembles violently behind his back. His eyes are glazed. He retreats into the bunker, effectively sealing his own coffin. 2 days later, the dam breaks. April 22nd. During a military conference, Hitler is told that a counterattack led by General Steiner never happened. Why? Because Steiner didn't have the troops. The army didn't exist. Hitler snaps. Witnesses describe a shrieking denunciation. He screams that he has been betrayed by everyone, the army, the SS, his generals. He cries out that the war is lost. This is the moment the spell breaks. The staff in the bunker look at each other. The God figure has fallen. With the leader broken, the rats begin to flee. And this drives Hitler into a paranoia that borders on madness. First, Hermann Göring, his second in command, sends a telegram asking to take power. Hitler explodes. He strips Göring of all titles and orders his arrest. But the ultimate knife in the back comes on April 28th. A news report leaks from the BBC. Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, the man Hitler called the faithful Heinrich, is secretly trying to negotiate peace with the West. Hitler is apoplectic. The man who built the concentration camps is trying to save his own skin. Hitler orders the execution of Himmler's liaison in the bunker, Hermann Fegelein. Fegelein is dragged into the Chancellery garden and shot. The message is clear. If the Reich is dying, everyone dies with it. April 29th. The Soviets are now fighting within the Berlin city center. You can feel the vibrations of the tank shells through the bunker walls. And in the midst of this apocalypse, a wedding is planned. Hitler decides to marry his longtime mistress, Eva Braun. It is the most surreal scene of the war. A minor city official is dragged into the bunker to perform the civil ceremony. Hitler dictates his will. They drink champagne. They reminisce about the good old days in the Alps. Eva Braun is radiant. She signs her name on the certificate, starting to write Eva B., then stops, crosses it out, and writes Eva Hitler. She knows she is marrying a dead man. She has come to Berlin specifically to die with him. While they toast, the Red Army is capturing the Reichstag just a few hundred yards away. There is a subplot in the bunker that is perhaps more horrifying than the war itself: the presence of Joseph Goebbels and his family. Goebbels brought his wife Magda and their 6 children into the bunker. 6 children, aged 4 to 12. Survivors recall the children playing in the concrete corridors, unaware that the adults around them are preparing for suicide. They called Hitler Uncle Adolf. Magda Goebbels, a fanatic devotee, refuses to let her children live in a world without Nazi socialism. She rejects offers to smuggle the children out. In the cold light of history, what happens next is unspeakable. Magda, likely with the help of a doctor, gives the children morphine to put them to sleep. Then she crushes cyanide capsules in their mouths. This is the true face of the ideology consuming its own future. Back to April 29th. Hitler needs to be sure the cyanide works. He doesn't trust the SS supply anymore, not after Himmler's betrayal. So he orders the poison to be tested on his beloved dog Blondie. The dog dies instantly. Hitler is reported to be more distraught over the dog's death than the destruction of his armies. The stage is set. April 30th, lunchtime. Hitler eats a final vegetarian meal. He says his goodbyes to the staff. His secretary, Traudl Jungle, recalls he seemed distant, his eyes empty. At around 3:30 p.m., Hitler and Eva Braun retired to their private study. Outside the door, his valet, Heinz Linger, waits. A single gunshot rings out. They wait a few moments. Then they enter. The air smells of burnt almonds, the scent of cyanide and gunpowder. Hitler has shot himself in the right temple. Eva Braun is slumped next to him. She took the poison. There is no state funeral, no glory. As per his orders, the bodies are wrapped in blankets and carried up the emergency stairs to the garden. The shelling is so intense that the aides can barely stand outside. They douse the bodies in petrol and light them on fire. A small group of loyalists stands by the bunker entrance, giving one final stiff-armed salute as the flames consume the dictator. 2 days later, the Russians capture the bunker. They find the charred remains. The man who wanted to rule the world for a millennium lasted 12 years, and he died hiding in a hole in the ground. The bunker incident isn't just about the death of a man. It's about the death of a delusion. It shows us how fragile absolute power really is when the walls start closing in. What do you think was the most shocking detail of these final 10 days? Was it the betrayal, the wedding, or the tragedy of the Goebbels children? Let me know in the comments. If you want to know what happened to the rest of the High Command after the bunker fell, click this video right here. I'll see you there.